Hey everyone, it's Dr. Diana Bittner and almost the whole crew. We don't have Megan with us tonight, but we have the whole crew, and it's all about how we can support each other at the holidays. You know, with everything going on, we know that women often carry the emotional burden and a lot of the burden of the holidays. So we just want to get together and share some tips about the psychology of the holidays. So we're all here tonight to support each other and support you. We would love you to join in the conversation. Feel free to add in the chat, and we can have a great conversation around this, and again, just really support each other. Just like I talked about on Fox 17 this morning, we talk about how, the psychology of the holidays. Not everyone looks forward to the holidays. So how can we make this a festive time for everyone involved in our lives? I think there's three main things. It's about preparation and boundaries and gifts. So I would love us just to get started, and hopefully this is a helpful discussion. I know just having the camaraderie at work and we're all in this together really helps me. So we hope to offer this. So you guys, maybe each one of you, why are you here tonight? Why do you think this is an important topic?
I can start. So, yeah. I think it's a stressful time of year for a lot of people, whether it's a joyful time of year or not. And so one of the things I like to do is set an intention for the holiday season, sort of what my goal or intention to achieve over that time is. And it helps guide what I say yes to, what I say no to. But it helps me kind of prepare and stay organized. I'm someone who likes to be organized and maybe a little OCD with that, but I love to be organized and on top of things, and setting an intention helps me to do that.
Awesome. It's kind of like how do you want to feel when the season is over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Teresa, what about you?
Well said, Tricia. I feel like I think a lot about gratitude this time of year. We tend to not tell people how they've touched our lives in small ways or big ways. And so this is a good reminder time of year to say something to somebody, how they've touched your lives, made your life a little better.
Well, you all make my lives better. Hopefully you know that every day.
Yeah.
I love that, Teresa, that, really being able to kind of verbalize the gratitude and to always remember to kind of give people back positive feedback on things that you notice that you take for granted. Teresa and I were talking about the other day, just to say it now, don't regret that you didn't say something positive to someone later. And particularly during the holidays, we get so pressured over so many things, and like all the negativity sometimes kind of takes over. And so, always finding the gratitude, always, the resting place is gratitude and positivity, and just to find something grateful and something positive, and no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm here kind of in a different pathway. As someone who's talked to women about weight for many, many years, Christmas and the holidays is a huge time where women will be like, I got completely off track and I am up 15 pounds more than I wanted to be. And how did this happen? And I know I can say for myself, I've been on the other end of a holiday season, kind of being like, whoa, where did that come from? And I think it's a great time just to sit down, take a breath. And I love we're going to talk about boundaries and even reflecting on what are some of the baseline things that you have to do to support yourself. And maybe it means not going to that cookie exchange. And maybe that means, not getting that last minute gift, but that you're sticking true to yourself and some of your health goals that are going to keep you on track. So at the other end of this, you're not reflecting backwards with some regret about completely sort of missing step with your overall health plan.
I love that. It's even thinking about something like not staying up to wrap presents and just putting things in gift bags, right? Just
totally
so you can get some sleep. So it's like looking at those things to take care of yourself. I love that. So as we think about preparation, that kind of lines up with intention, right? So it's like, how do we prepare in advance? For me, I look at the schedule and think about, okay, when am I going to exercise? When am I going to sleep? How do you guys think about preparing for the holidays and making sure that you're not disappointed in what you did or didn't do?
I always try to schedule time for myself, which sounds a little selfish, but I know that if I'm not operating at my best form, then it's going to bleed out into those around me. So I always try to schedule movement, try to think ahead if I have events or parties to go to from a nutritional standpoint, and try to schedule even gym time. Even if I'm traveling, it may just mean I go for a walk and I don't lift weights if I'm at my in-laws' house. So I try to find ways that I can still do self-care for myself and get that scheduled, and then sort of go around it, back and forth between what I've added and what I can do to keep myself healthy as well.
I think the setting the boundaries is such a huge thing, just the busyness of the season. And one of the mantras that I always have is, if it's not a hell yes, it's not a yes. And so it kind of just taps into, if it's not something that you have a lot of passion to, it's probably, in this busy time of the year, it probably can be on the back burner and focus on it in some other way. So that setting boundaries is really, really, really pivotally important.
I always talk to my patients about, sometimes when we have plans that we're sticking to, like something like a seeds, I almost want them to double down on it. Maybe this is a time that you never really recorded it on paper, but maybe you want to just for the next 2 to 3 weeks, because your mind's going to go to other things. You're going to get busy. You're going to get distracted. But maybe now you want to record how many minutes you exercise, maybe record how many ounces of water you're getting. And you don't have to do that for the whole year. That task can feel overwhelming to think that you're going to do it the rest of your life. But this is the time now to sort of almost double down on those things. And then it kind of evens out as just sort of baseline and average.
Agree. This is actually a time of year I like to wear a continuous glucose monitor, a CGM, because it really helps keep me accountable. And it's like, I don't feel great if I have a dessert and a glass of wine and, some mashed potatoes. So if my sugar is going all over the place, it's like even more proof that I did something that will not make me feel good. And, after an event, to feel like, oh, my sugar is even, I don't feel sleepy, like, oh my God, that was amazing. I feel really good. I want to remember this. So that CGM kind of helps keep me accountable. Someone today said, I don't want to wear that CGM until after the holidays. I said, I get that, but maybe think about it on the reverse. Maybe it helps you meet your goal.
And that could be the perfect Christmas gift. I forgot about that one, CGMs and the stockings.
There you go. How else do you guys prepare in terms of is it meals or travel or, I guess that's probably something we all just inherently do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think preparing too is having those conversations with those loved ones, maybe not before the actual event, but even like your partner, because I think a lot of times our partners' relationships almost get put to the wayside because, again, we're thinking of other family members, our kids and school projects. And it can be nice just to even pencil in some time with your partner, just be like, what do we want this holiday season to be for each other, for our families, and making sure you're just on the same page so you don't end up with those stressful last minute arguments about going to that friend's party and they never wanted to go in the first place and didn't you know, and all those things. And so just even penciling in time to have conversations about expectations, I think can be really important.
And that probably wouldn't even have anything to do with a friend's party they didn't want to go to. It's just hey, what about me? Don't we get any time together? We're just going to go to one more event and not talk to each other. And then we go home and we're exhausted.
Yeah.
So I love that. I know for my husband and I, we love to the weekend after New Year's Eve, that second, third, we just go find a cabin up north and go hide for 48 hours. Nobody can find us. It's just, we love all the kids and the busyness and Rosie and all the things, but then it's so nice to just escape and have quiet. So we look forward to that almost, even though we love the holidays.
I think scheduling an outside time, connection with nature, just to be able to sort of separate ourselves from, all that, that's going on. I think the other pieces, at some point having some quiet time to kind of detach from our expectations about exactly, how a certain time or dinner or day is going to go, and to sort of be okay with the fact that if things don't go right, it's okay, and however it flows, it does, which is really hard for some people, but something to think about.
Exactly. So how else do you guys think about boundaries? When I talked about it on Fox today, I talked about, we'll call her Jane. Like, it was a patient who was like, at Thanksgiving, my brother-in-law starting to drink again, and it was just really awkward. People were like trying to pretend that it was all okay, and everyone was uncomfortable. And my daughter came home from college and said, why do you adults put up with bad behavior? Like, if he comes to Christmas Eve, I'm going to my friends. Like, I don't know why you guys put up with this. And Jane, she's like, yeah, you're right. Like, you matter to me more than tolerating Uncle Bob and his bad behavior. So she called up her sister and said, maybe you guys need to figure stuff out, and we're just going to have a small family gathering on Christmas Eve. Just to really have boundaries and not to worry about offending the person who offended, right? They're an adult. They made choices. We're just going to go on without you this year, and hopefully we can come back together next year. And then I think it shows good examples for our kids how we can have boundaries around behavior.
Right. I think one of the things during the holiday season is we're often asked to do a lot, right, in a very small time frame. And so I try to think of the intention I have for the holiday season or for our family. And so, for example, if it's connection or connectivity, and you volunteer to do all the food for a meal, you're probably not going to be connecting with the people that come over because you're probably going to be stuck in the kitchen the whole time. So when you're asked to do things, setting a boundary to say, I'm willing to host, but maybe everybody can chip in so that you can have time if your intention is connection. And maybe you want to be in the kitchen to be away from Uncle Bob, but in a lot of cases, you probably want to visit people and see people that you don't always get to see. And so thinking of that intention you set, and when you're asked to do things, how can you align that with your intention of whatever it could be?
Yeah. And sometimes too, I think people really like to contribute, so they feel like they're involved, not they're waiting for you to serve them. Even though you might want everything perfect, maybe let that go. And the perfection is everyone feeling welcome.
Right.
Lori Robertson, I love your comment, right? It's all about taking the stress out of the situations, kind of letting that air out of the situations and creating boundaries. I think that's what you probably mean, right? So yeah, how can we be prepared and go into it so we don't leave with regret? And then we think about gifts. So we're talking about boundaries and preparation, and then we think about gifts. And for a lot of people, that can create a lot of stress. And I think about what really matters about a gift. My daughter Pixie this year, she's like, Mom, please don't run out the day before Christmas and like try to get extra stuff and spend all this money on stuff we don't really need because you just want to do more. Like, just stop, which I loved. Great, Pixie. But it's really thinking about what really matters about each gift. It's not how much money you spend. It's like, was that thoughtful? Do people feel like they were seen and you kind of get what they would really want? How do you guys think about gifts? And I'd love to go through each of our favorite gifts that we'd want to give or get. So this is my list. One thing I'll say, Missy helped me with this recommendation, but it's true, is first of all, the sex deck. So we think about like, what would be a gift? Celia talked about reconnecting with our partner. So we do have the box of fun, the box of sex toys that we sell here at True. They're certainly here for sale or wherever you get yours. But to think about just adding a little spice to the season, and maybe, there's nothing wrong with quickies, but then, sometimes desire is lagging. And so it's then maybe doing this with a sex deck and taking some time to think about, why is our desire maybe not where it's at? And of course, in the sex deck, there's cards that talk about distraction, right? This is a season for distraction, fatigue. So again, how to kind of get around that. Sometimes having this silk pillow, it's not only good for our complexion and our hair, but also can just feel really special, can feel spoiled, and it's cooling. So if you're having a little bit of hot flash after that glass of wine, then it's not bad to come home and put your head down on this nice silky pillowcase. One of my favorite books and authors is Rosamund Pilcher. And so just thinking about little things that bring us joy. If I just need to chill, I can open this book, and it's pictures of where Rosamund Pilcher was inspired to write her books, Coming Home and The Shell Seekers. And it's pictures of Cornwall. And I love this book. And then thinking about a health type gift is thinking about our circadian rhythm and supporting that with a sun lamp. So the clear screen is this sun lamp that we can have in the morning to expose ourselves to the sun to really help our brain wake up, to get our cortisol going. And so we can kind of stay in the circadian rhythm even when the days are dark. So these are my ideas for gifts, and I think they could be pretty meaningful.
Dr. Bittner, not to throw too much of a sales pitch in, but I will say that, we've had I know all of us have had conversations with women about using vibrators or other sex toys. And my personal experience has not been a lot of negative feedback, I will say. No one's really come back to the office and been like, holy smokes, was that a terrible idea? 100%. I've not personally gotten that, just to throw it out there for those that are maybe on the fence about it, thinking about it. Yeah.
And Megan and I were at ISHWISH, the International Society for the Study of Women's Sexual Health, and we picked this vendor because everything is made in the U.S., designed by a young woman with lots of good bioengineering. And a lot of women at first might say, well, if I bring home a sex toy, then what is my partner going to think, that they're not necessary? Or I'm like, no, if you survey partners, they're like, no, that's pretty cool, that they would want to explore a bit. So just to add on to that, Celia, thank you. It can be a good thing. So again, we have those here at the office, and you're welcome to stop by and pick up a sex deck and check out the box of fun.
All right, so these are my recommendations. So a lot of women come to us to talk about, like, how can I fit in exercise? We talk a lot about strength training and how important that is for those that are either on a weight loss plan or not. We think strength training across the board is a great recommendation for women as they're aging. And it can be kind of overwhelming to be like, well, what does that mean? And I have to buy all these dumbbells and kettlebells or like a $3,000 mirror. Like, I don't want to do that. So a really great gift could be dumbbells. They have dumbbells that you can change the size. So it's a nice little compact device, and you can start with 3 pounds, 5 pounds. And then as you get stronger, or as you're doing different movements, you can change how much the weight is without having sort of a huge rack of weights that are there taking up a lot of space. So this is just great if you're getting started, feeling a little shy about having all this stuff out, or maybe going to a gym. And this can be a great even to put in if you're staying at a cabin for a long period of time that you could travel with, that you could do your exercises. So I think that this is such a great thing that exists that not a lot of people know about. The second thing is I'm, as we know, a huge fan of planning and writing down our meals and reflecting. And if you don't have a nourishment journal from our office, this Clever Fox has great meal plans and budget planners as well for you to sort of reflect. So if you're a little concerned about income security, this can be a great way to write down some goals and keep track of where not only your calories and macronutrients are going, but also sort of money and budgeting. And then lastly, over the past couple of weeks to months, our team has been super into tools that are supporting our lymphatic system, which is a secondary fluid flow that goes throughout our body in addition to blood. We've stumbled upon this with a lot of the work that I do with lipedema and have gotten really excited about it. So much so we've had several lymphatic pumps in the office that all of us have tried on to learn more and to get a better understanding of what a patient is experiencing at home. But in that journey, we're learning that there's a lot of new companies that are making exercise gear and leggings that are geared towards lymphatic support. And if you're someone who struggles with leg swelling, or even if you're a heavy athlete, they're finding that the more compression you wear, particularly while exercising, can really be impactful on recovery and muscle soreness. So, there's a lot of great brands out there. So if you're looking for some new exercise stuff, exercise gear, you may want to think about something that has some compression in it. We measure pressure in gradients, so it's millimeters of mercury. The higher the number, the tighter it's going to be. You could start off with something low, like 15 to 20, and work your way up, if you felt like that was supportive. So always something fun to make your exercise plan a little bit more fun.
Awesome. Great job. Great suggestions. I think we're going to beat out Oprah's list, right? With the true list.
Yeah.
So obviously this is not a gift. I guess it could be. You can buy actual cocktail packages where you just have to add the fluid to it at different stores around town. I've even seen them at sort of like kind of craft shows as well too. But during the holiday season, there's usually a little bit of uptick in alcohol use that we see. And so if you're wanting your intentions to avoid alcohol or try to make like with lifestyle medicine, we say to avoid risky substances. You can look and there's so many mocktails out there that are a lot of fun. So I love mojitos. And so you could make a mojito without the rum in it. And there are a lot of other drinks that are commonly drank, mules, margaritas. And so you can go online and Google, there's actually books you can buy. So that could be a gift for someone if perhaps they want to enjoy a drink, but maybe not have the alcohol in it. So this is just one recipe. There's lots of them. You can go online, Pinterest, and find all kinds of them. And then same thing as Celia, as you were saying. So one of the most common things I hear from patients when we talk about barriers for activity is I don't have the time, or I travel for work a lot, or I found I was traveling for sports a lot with my kids. And hotels sometimes have an amazing gym, and sometimes there's a lot left to be wished upon, like they're not great. Or maybe you're traveling to a relative's house and they don't have a gym. Or for me, I belong to a gym, but it's a local gym. So it's not like a Planet Fitness where I could go nationwide and attend one of the other facilities. So whenever I travel, you will always find these bands in my suitcase. And I actually have one right here. They're super lightweight. They're super durable. I figure if the college guys at the gym can't break these, then there's no way I'm going to wear through this. But you can fold them up and fit them right in your suitcase. So they are always in my suitcase when I travel. They were in Mexico for spring break. When Dr. Egan and I were out in DC for Obesity Week, they were with me then too. And you can just do them in your hotel room. There's almost always a way to anchor them to some sort of piece of furniture. They usually have pretty heavy furniture there, or a door. I've even done it in the stairwell at a hotel. They've got, solid steel posts where I can attach the bands. And I just have some of the lighter ones because you can mix them up and make them stronger depending on what weights you do. And you can even do these at home. Sometimes I'll pull them out at home and do a quick workout if I don't feel like going to the gym with them. So they're super easy to travel with. And you can find band exercises online, or if you work with a trainer, my trainer gives me exercises that I can do anywhere. And then the other thing I hear from patients so much is I just don't sleep good. And when we don't sleep well, our body just doesn't operate properly and we don't feel good. And so we had a Friends Miss party on Saturday, and we do like a little a gift exchange, and I ended up with a sleep mask, not this one, but a similar one. And so I always tell patients when we think about the food pyramid, like we really push fruits and vegetables, sleep is so critical to our health. And so a sleep mask is a great gift for someone if they struggle with sleep. And they have a ton of varieties out. This one's that is on here is soft. It's basically like blackout curtains, only it's on your eyes. And so that can be a tool that can be helpful for individuals who are having difficulty sleeping. And sleep is, we can all think of times I fortunately can sleep pretty well, but on the days I don't sleep, I don't feel great the next day. Like I just don't operate in the best way.
Agree. That's awesome.
I love that, Tricia, because those hotel gyms are so lacking sometimes in equipment.
Yeah. Well, and if you lift weights, right? Like it's one thing they all have a treadmill typically, or you could go walk outside, but sometimes the weights there's one dumbbell, or because someone's stolen the other dumbbell, or there's not a bench, or there's just not all the tools you usually need. And it's so easy to use those.
But too, just even I've traveled to friends' houses where they didn't have a gym, or I didn't want to go do that. And I just took 20 minutes and, of course I love to pull up the Peloton app, but to have the bands, then I'm not just doing, body weight. So that's a great idea.
Yeah.
They can put
Gosh,
those in
I
the
love
stockings too.
Yeah. Yes.
I know. I love all these suggestions. So, moving on to some of my gift ideas,
Yeah.
it kind of goes along with the sleep thing as well. Yes, and lack of sleep is like a form of torture, isn't it? In wartime, Dr. Bittner and I know that very well, delivering all those babies. So,
Babies.
yes, and another thing I've noticed, fun thing as I'm aging, as maybe other people can relate to, is you need to wear more comfortable things. So I love these slippers. They make shoes and boots, but it's by a company, Rothy's, where they use recycled water bottles in their stitching, and they've got an amazing footbed and all of their footwear. And you can also just wash it. You throw it in the washer and just let them dry. But anyways, they have I think my favorite part really is the footbed. Used to be able to wear any kind of flip-flop, $2 thing from wherever, but these are a little bit more pricey, but they're really worth it. They last a long time. They're good for the environment and feel great on your feet and your arches. So I guess we're built from the floor up, right? If your feet hurt, everything else goes to heck. The other thing was just sleeping with 100% cotton. That seems really hard to find nowadays. And this company, I think it's Harvest and Hill, makes 100% organic cotton, just loungewear. So it's nice and cool and breathable. You know, if you're having any kind of hot flashes or trouble sleeping, this is a nice way to keep yourself cool at night, or just lounging around the next day. I think it looks good with a t-shirt or sweater or whatnot.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah. All those natural fabrics.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like something comfortable and cozy for the holidays?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Suzanne, what do you have for us?
Well, I have, the first one is something that we actually got as gifts when we opened True. I don't know, Diana, if you remember this, but
I still have mine on my desk.
Yeah, mine's at home because I get to enjoy it immensely. And in my retirement, I will enjoy it from home even more. But it's called an Ember. It's a cup that is an electric cup that stays warm, so you get to sip your coffee at exactly the temperature that you like. And most of us in the office are coffee aficionados, so you know this is a really important topic. But my pet peeve is getting busy during the workday and coming back, and my awesome cup of coffee is now cold, and it's just not the same. And so this cup pairs with an app on your phone, and you set it so that it keeps your coffee or whatever other warm drink that you enjoy at exactly the temperature that you like, and it just works amazingly. And I think it's a great gift for anyone. So that's on my list. And most of us really enjoy our coffee, but sometimes, particularly in stressful times, it's okay to go away from coffee and get into some herbal tea. And so this is an example of chamomile tea that's has a little bit of added lemon. So chamomile has a really nice herbal element to it that has a relaxation piece to it. So a really nice thing to sip in the evening when maybe you don't want the caffeine in your coffee to keep you awake at night. And so that's another one. And then the other picture here is, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on our acupuncturist name all of a
Dr.
sudden.
Newman,
Oh.
Dr. Marissa Newman.
Yes, Dr. Marissa Newman is an example of someone in our community who offers another type of holistic therapy that is such a nice option. I have so many patients who don't want to go on one more medicine for one more thing. And so, you know, other alternative therapies like massage therapy, acupuncture therapy are really nice modalities to think about integrating. And if you're thinking about, you know, even gifts at Christmas time, I mean, sometimes it's, you don't know what to ask your family or your spouse for. And so asking for the gift of a therapeutic massage or a consultation with an acupuncturist. Acupuncture in particular has, you know, a real gift to being able to help you to rebalance and restore. So it can be a treatment for all kinds of medical problems, including headaches and aches and pains and joint issues and stress and anxiety, all kinds of things. But in the holiday season, when stress is really at the highest, it's, even if you don't have a medical condition that you need acupuncture for, it's something that you could use just from a relaxation response scenario. So just one more tip for things that you could try to stay balanced and restored during the holiday season.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Suzanne. I've experienced Marissa's acupuncture, and she is amazing. Tara has a question. Have you heard of any healthy chai tea? So here I was just traveling into tea plantation land, and I don't love tea. So I was Googling what's healthier, coffee or tea. So I guess if your coffee is black coffee, there's actually more antioxidants in coffee than tea. I was very glad to see that. But in terms of chai tea, there's so many healthy antioxidants in chai, I would imagine, with the cinnamon, nutmeg, the actual tea. Do you guys have certain brands of chai that you like? I guess it depends on how much sugar and fat you put in it, but.
Yeah, I think the chai part is actually not bad at all. I think of what they put in it in terms of the sugar and fat additives that make it that uber addicting substance is what draws a lot of the overconsumption. And so even just switching to a chai tea, but just not at Starbucks, honestly, you'll probably be headed in a better direction. A lot of the times I'll coach patients who are in that the throes of Starbucks, of just being like, start with small twists, right? Because there's a lot that goes into having someone make you a cup of coffee. Like it feels good, it's pretty, the smells, the noise. I mean, there's a lot that goes into those sort of rituals. And so one is just even, making it from a full fat to maybe half, or one pump instead of two. And so you're just starting to make these small twists into making it a little bit of a healthier version. And then you can even do every other day, and you sort of kind of go slowly. But I think there's a lot of chai that's available on the market that's just, you can add with water and maybe a splash of milk or splash of steamed milk. And that's way overall healthier than what you're getting at Starbucks. They tend to overdo the sugar. And so the sweetness on your tongue doesn't, once you get beyond like 10 grams of sugar, your tongue can't really differentiate too much anymore, right? It's not like, oh, that was 25 grams of sugar versus 50. Like it's just good. Like it just doesn't know anything different. So just start slowly cutting back.
You can even, I have a vanilla chai tea, and I don't remember the brand, but I got it at Meijer, and it's just a tea bag. So when I just drink it with hot water, there's no sugar in it, and it has caffeine. It's not one of the caffeine-free herbals that I usually drink, but I don't add sugar and I don't put it in milk. I just do it in water, and it tastes good still.
Oh, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So what I thought we'd go into next is Missy prepared the 12 days of Christmas, the 12 pointers for Christmas. So I'd love us just to go through these and have a conversation. Again, everyone, feel free to add in who's out there. And I just love this one. Suzanne, I know you started to talk about this a bit, right? Like put yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think during the holiday it gets so busy, and always remembering that it's really helpful to have a moment to put yourself first, and not feeling guilty about that. I mean, you can't be your best self, and you can't be a good friend to friends or a family member unless you first, nurture yourself so that you have enough to be able to sort of give. And so, and sometimes we get so busy that we forget to do that. And so actually scheduling it sometimes is one way to make sure that it doesn't get forgotten, and making sure that what you are scheduling is something that relaxes and recharges you, and isn't something that actually stresses you out more than where you started. And so we all have different things that, fit that for ourselves. And so I think tuning into what are the things that make me feel good, that make me feel calm, that recharge me, and being able to schedule something like that in, and not feeling guilty about it.
Nice. I love it. All right. Number 2. See, I have the list here.
Set boundaries.
Not coming is number 2, set boundaries.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say no. Who wants to take this one?
I can. I think that's really important. I think like Suzanne said, we feel guilty. So one of the things I do when I start the holiday season, or actually I do it every month, it doesn't matter if it's the holidays, I sort of have a battery pack at the beginning of the month. It's fully charged and I plug in my daily things that I need to do. And then whatever sports, if we're invited to things, events, parties, and at some point when the battery is empty, which is I check in with my emotional temperature gauge, like, okay, do I have room for more or not? Then I say no. And I remember feeling guilty. I think most of us do, but I've learned that it's okay to say no and you do not need to feel guilty. So I think just checking in with your temperature emotionally, like, is it hot? Is it cold? Do I feel like I'm overcommitted? And if you are, then putting a stop point there and not committing to more things, which is really difficult for people to do because we are so inclined just to say yes to everything and be superheroes, and we can't do it all at once.
Definitely cannot do it all at once. That's, I think, such an important thing to hold on to.
Yeah. Celia, I love how you and I joke about imaginary time. We're like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Imaginary time, and I just always like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I know there'll be time. And sometimes there just isn't.
Yeah.
There just having those boundaries, but it's so hard because we just want to do it all for everybody.
Yeah.
So that was number 2. So I guess prioritize what matters most. Trish, I love how you do that, to make that list of things that you want to make sure and get done, prioritize, and then everything else maybe takes a back seat. Number 3, simplify when you can. Take shortcuts. Less stress is more joy. How do you all think about this? I think about this in meal prep. Celia, you talk a lot about that.
Yeah, I mean, I even think the fact that a lot of women will come to us and, they're like, 3 meals a day. Like, how am I even going to begin to do that? I'm like, just make a lot of one and space some of it out, and little things like that can just be so helpful just to cut down on the mess and getting groceries and little things like that, really just to make your day easier and spend more time doing whatever that is that brings you joy. Maybe it's family, maybe it's exercise, whatever that may be.
And on our Mighty Networks platform, Kim has just created these amazing menus and grocery lists that each week will use, a set of ingredients that you can use in different ways, that you can make muffins and eat them at different times of all the things. So it's just the grocery list is there, just to simplify. There are healthy ingredients, simple ingredients, and there's consistency during a week, and it just makes it simple. So there are time for other things than just being in the kitchen for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Which then leads us into number 4, nourish your body. How do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in not doing the save your calories for the big party, because you really end up coming into a situation where you're going to have a lot of food that's going to be calorie dense, and you cannot beat cravings and hunger together, no matter how hard you try. So if you're starving going into a holiday party with all that really, appetizers and calorie dense foods, you're going to overeat. You're going to overeat too much sugar. You're going to have too much calories in general, too much probably saturated fat. And it's always best to have some protein and maybe a little bit of fiber before you go to that holiday party. It doesn't mean you're not going to try different things. It just means you're going to be a bit more balanced walking in, and you'll be able to make better choices on the back end. Where I do talk about saving is sometimes in the carbohydrate sugar world. So if I know I'm going to a party later that I'm going to have some dessert, maybe then that's not the morning that I'm going to have oatmeal, right? Because I know I'm going to have a ton of carbohydrates later. So maybe that's a morning I'm focused more on protein heavy, low carb dishes, maybe for breakfast and lunch, because I know a little bit later I'm going to have some more carbohydrates to kind of, my extra sugars for the day.
Makes sense.
Oh, I love that it's like, this is a Freudian slip that I left out stay hydrated, because that is like by far my least favorite thing to do is to stay hydrated. Again, getting your hands on anything that is something that can get water with you where you're going. So whether that's a new water bottle, something that you like, writing it down, do everything you can to get water into your body, because not only will that help you from a adiposity or a fat point of view, we know it helps prevent hot flashes. We know it helps us sleep better. There's just so many reasons to have water.
And sometimes when we're hungry, we're just really thirsty, right?
Yeah.
Super important. And number 5, move for energy. Trisha, I think about you going to the gym, you just love it, right? But Suzanne, you like walking your dog. Teresa, what do you like to do for moving?
I'm a big walker, but also a snow skier. So that's always a good time, just going out to the cottage and you don't have to ski all day. You can do short little things and but I would say definitely I'm a walker year round.
And I always, we talk about not necessarily needing to be like the sweatiest of sweaty when you're moving, because a lot of times we'll defer a workout because we don't want to be, super sweaty and our hair was done and, we have to go do something later and, it feels overwhelming. It's like, you know what, you can just go for a walk. That's okay. Right. It does not have to be where you're in like a zone 3 and completely out of breath, and moving some is better than nothing. So, we'd love you just to keep going.
And even like yesterday, somebody said, well, I'm not really weight training right now, but I'm doing 3 yoga a week and I'm doing Pilates. I'm like, you are strengthening your muscles. You're challenging your joints. Like, it's okay to do different forms of supporting your muscle. It doesn't all have to be barbells and lifting heavy weight. So it's good to change it up. So number 6. So critical. Trisha, you talk about this a lot, don't you? From, a functional and a behavioral standpoint.
Yeah. And I think it's such a busy season that sleep often takes a back seat. We stay up late because we got to get gifts wrapped, or we have to make something for something the next day, or we have family coming to visit. And so it's so important. So if you can get sleep in, and then again, that emotional gauge, if you're overwhelmed, it's okay to take a break and just, and maybe incorporate that outside movement, just go for a quick walk. But listening to your body and knowing when it needs a break. We often eat these really calorie dense meals. We have a little extra alcohol. We don't sleep. It's sort of a recipe for trouble and not feeling great. And so if you can get 7 to 8 hours of sleep in there and do some shortcuts or delegate a little bit, even to get some help and reinforcement in what you have to do, or say no. If you're not getting sleep, it's okay to say, you know what, I can't do that, and prioritize that for yourself. It's really important for your body to operate efficiently.
I love that. And what do you think? What do you all mean by mindful giving? We've talked a bit about the gifts that we like to give and we'd maybe like to get. What does this mean, mindful giving?
Gosh, I think this is such an important one. I mean, sometimes in a holiday like Christmas or birthday or whatever, we give gifts just because we're supposed to give a gift, and we go out and just order something on Amazon and just give it so that we have a gift to bring. And so mindful giving is really about kind of thinking about what role does this person play in my life? And so if they weren't there, what would be missing, and like what's an expression that I can give to them that sort of tells them that. And so it could be, baking a cookie for them. It could be, just telling them, words that you've never said to them, or it could be in art or a craft or something that's somehow like is an expression of what they mean to you. So I think that mindfulness is really, really important to think about, instead of just this rote thing of just buying a gift to give a gift.
I love that.
I don't think it has to be purchased, right? When I think of a gift, I think everybody thinks, I got to go buy something, but it can be something that you make, like baking, or if you're artistic. But also with my kids, I think about, they don't need anything, right? Like, I love to gift experiences, because those memories, when I talk to my sons, they're not remembering some, tchotchke gift I got them. They're remembering, remember when we went and did this, or we went and did, hung out here, or saw so-and-so. For them, those memories are definitely more pronounced than a gift that I give them.
I love that. It's like the gift of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. and memories and experiences. And again, that's staying within the budget, right? If you give a lot of stuff, then you can't do a lot of things. So it's deciding what's more important to you and checking in with emotions. I mean, these gifts really kind of fit in right with checking in with our emotions, like acknowledging feelings about others, but then about yourself.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we hear so much in the office that I talk a lot with my patients is just having self-compassion. So self-compassion is, the ability to feel, sympathy and some space for, well, usually we think about it for another person, but even just having it for yourself, and I think a lot of the times women will be telling me their story and they're so hard on themselves. I'm like, if this were your friend telling you this story, like, what would you say? And they'll give me a beautiful speech of what they would say to be supportive. I'm like, okay, like, let's turn that around and let's say it to ourselves of, you're trying your best, like you're making the best choices with what you have, you're working hard, and you're a good person. Like, there's so many good things that we can say to ourselves. And I think that it feels almost impossible during these busy holiday seasons. So don't forget to do that.
So the other thing about the holidays is sometimes it's a season that's really more laden with emotion than we think about. Sometimes it's often the same time of the year as maybe we lost someone. Maybe it's an anniversary of a divorce or some really emotionally laden thing, and then you're adding the holidays on top of it, and it's really hard to cope with. And so being able to sort of own that and be able to have a conversation about it with someone else, connections about emotions, but just owning it and acknowledging it, I think can be really, really helpful.
It's like really leaning in and feeling the feelings, right? Yeah. And not just putting those feelings away, but lean in and feel the feelings. And then how can I then turn that to think about where I am now and my gratitude for what's happened in the past and how I can move forward. But we've got to lean in and feel sad, feel grief, and then find the joy again. Mm-hmm. And we can find joy when we hold a kitty. Teresa, who is this?
This is Oliver. He was really curious. He's been banging on the door trying to get in the office. I know. And then now he wants to leave again. Yeah. Oh, there he goes.
Adorable.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, the joy of an animal. That's the best. And so plan downtime. I think we've talked about this already, but it's all about, again, those quiet moments. For me, sometimes it's just the drive into work. I don't even turn on a podcast or the radio. It's just being in silence. And sometimes that is just the best thing and the best use of my drive time.
Sorry.
It's okay. Stay connected. So I love this concept of women who cope well. They, number one, believe they deserve to be happy. Number two, they keep a support network around them. And number three, they ask for help when they need it. So it's really okay to have the support network and stay connected. I'm sure, like at work, just all of us being together. Of course, we're missing Megan tonight, and Lynn, our business partner, and our whole team that works here at True. We truly have learned to ask for help with each other, depend on each other, support each other. And I wouldn't want to do all this without you. So I want to thank you all. And again, it's just great having you on our team.
Pleasure to be here, and ditto on that. Thank you all for helping me so much as I'm getting started here.
Great. So number 11, focus on the joy. Make time for simple things that make you happy. So even the Christmas lights, I hear at Meyer Gardens, it's just amazing. The light show just made number 3 in the nation for the best light show in a botanical garden. So it's like those little things of enjoying the Christmas lights, the kitty meow, and all the attention we get from our animals. So it's like really looking at all of those things that that make you happy. It's the tea, it's whatever. So again, I think this is an important part of the holidays.
There's a book called Slowing Down to the Speed of Joy that I think is amazing, that, is about, sometimes we get so busy and wrapped up, and this is so true in the holidays, that we forget to even notice, gosh, what really makes me happy, what makes me laugh, what gives me joy in life. And so just staying really mindful about that and staying in touch with it.
Mm-hmm. And as I see Teresa stressing about her Oliver meowing, like, just embrace imperfection. Who cares? Like, enjoy, the more the merrier. It's good stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. He was a preemie. He's got some issues here.
You know, one of the things I think of is, you know, some of my best memories are from the imperfections, right? I think about like our wedding and just events we've had. Sometimes some of the best memories and the funniest things that we laugh about now were some of the imperfections, the things that we didn't plan to happen that happened. And so nobody's perfect. We're not designed to be perfect. And so when something goes wrong, we can handle it two ways. But if you embrace it, it goes a lot smoother.
Exactly.
I know I had a whole day of doing homework that got completely disrupted by the ice storm, and I had 3 little puppies home with me all day. So
So you just have to embrace it, right? And find the joy in those moments of, I'm sure there was some chaos involved, but
oh, very much so. Yeah. And everyone's already gotten a little cabin fever, and it's not even mid-December yet. Here we are. We'll be banging on Teresa's door to go skiing, I'm sure. I'm going to dump them off at our doorsteps.
Oh, you're totally all welcome. I can't wait. Yeah, we're going to do it.
look forward to it. So we from True wish all of you out there an amazing holiday, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate. If it's Kwanzaa, if it's Hanukkah, if it's Christmas, or it's just about getting family together, we hope you have an amazing holiday system. It's getting late. Sorry, all season, and embrace the imperfection. And I look forward to our days here. Again, we're here at True. If you're a patient of True, if you're not feeling well, let us know. We want to do everything we can to support you for the holidays. Take your vitamin C, get your rest. Any other parting words, everyone?
Everyone take care of themselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I feel like the Brady Bunch. I have to like look down at Suzanne.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Happy
Thank
holidays.
you. Happy holidays.